Welcome. Today we're diving deep into a system that's hiding in plain sight, the mechanics of traffic police bribery in the Indian state of Meghalaya, and we're going to deconstruct it based on some truly revealing investigative findings. So picture this. A traffic cop in Meghalaya pulls you over. You might hear the question, Challan or settlement? Now, on the surface, that sounds like a simple choice, right? But it's not. It's actually a demand. And understanding what that demand really means is the key to unlocking a massive statewide system of corruption. So let's really break down this so-called choice. Because it's presented as two equal options, but it's really a fork in the road. One path follows the law. The other one, well, that path leads you straight into the heart of a very corrupt, very organized system. Okay, let's look at what these two paths actually are. A Challan is the legal, by-the-book option. It's the official ticket. You pay the fine, the money goes to the government, and hopefully it deters you from breaking the rules again. Simple. But a settlement? That's a totally different beast. It's an illegal, off-the-books bribe. That money disappears into a web of personal and political pockets. And you know what? Because it's often cheaper and faster for the driver, it doesn't stop bad behavior. It actually encourages it. And get this isn't some rare, isolated incident. We're not talking about a few bad apples here and there. This choice is presented to drivers thousands of times every single day all across Meghalaya. That's how you know this has gone way beyond individual greed and become a full-blown systemic problem. So how in the world do thousands of small, seemingly minor transactions turn simple bribery into a sophisticated, well-oiled business? Well, it happens when it stops being about an individual's greed and starts becoming an organized system of extortion. You see, the cash from these settlements doesn't just line the pockets of the officer on the street. It serves multiple, much bigger purposes. Yeah, of course, there's personal enrichment, but a big chunk of that money also flows upwards, becoming a huge, unaccounted-for source of political funding. And maybe worst of all, it's used to give a free pass to influential people who break the law, making sure the system always protects its own. To really grasp the unbelievable financial scale of this, just listen to this finding from the investigation. It frames the problem perfectly, not just as corruption, but as a complete parallel economy. Crores daily. Let that sink in for a second. 1 crore is 10 million rupees. So we are talking about an immense river of untaxed, illegal cash flowing through this network every single day. This isn't just bribery anymore. It's an economic engine that's fueling an entire shadow economy. But here's the thing. As shocking as all that money is, it's not the real damage. The true cost of this system isn't measured in rupees. It's measured in something far more precious: public safety. And the impact is just devastating. I mean, look at this. The parallel economy it creates is a massive problem. The way it erodes public trust is a disaster, but neither of those is the biggest cost. Look at that largest slice. Half of the damage this system does comes from making the roads more dangerous for every single one of us. And the connection is crystal clear. When a driver who's doing something genuinely dangerous can just pay a small, unofficial settlement and drive away, there is absolutely zero reason for them to change their behavior. The system isn't deterring dangerous driving, it's effectively giving it a green light, putting everyone else on the road in danger. Okay, so you're probably thinking, with a system this ingrained, this deep-rooted, how do you even begin to prove it's happening and hold people accountable? Well, let's look at the investigative methods that are being used to follow the evidence and drag this whole thing into the light. One of the most powerful and frankly gutsy techniques is what's called a bribery audit. It's incredibly direct. An investigator will deliberately commit a very minor violation, something like crossing a solid line, and then they just document what happens. Does the officer do their job and issue a legal challan, or do they solicit a bribe? This creates direct, first-hand, undeniable evidence of the system in action. And that's just one tool in the toolkit. Investigators are also using dashcams to get video proof, conducting confidential interviews with police insiders to understand the pressures, and even filing official complaints just to create a paper trail and see how the system responds. But there's one legal tool that might be the most powerful of all, because it uses the system's own data against it. It's called a right to information request, or an RTI. Basically, it's a legal tool that any citizen can use to demand official data from the government. So you can ask a very simple question. Hey, last month, how many traffic violations did you detect and how many official challans did you actually issue? A huge gap between those two numbers is the statistical smoking gun. It proves in black and white that countless violations are being settled instead of being legally processed.
And it's really important to stress, this whole approach is grounded in solid, established legal frameworks and international anti-corruption research. We're talking about things like the Prevention of Corruption Act, the Motor Vehicles Act. This isn't guesswork. It's about building a credible, evidence-based case.
So when you pull all of this evidence together, the audits, the data from RTIs, the jaw-dropping financial scale, the conclusion is just undeniable. This was never about a few bad apples. It's about a rotten tree. This is not isolated corruption. This is institutionalized extortion. And that brings us to the final, really challenging question that this whole investigation leads to. It's a question that goes way beyond traffic stops in one state. When the very system that's supposed to enforce the law is itself the problem, where does accountability even begin?